If the truth is out there, then why haven't we found aliens yet? Join the richest as we venture deep into the never-ending vacuum of space. What do scientists think is our best chance for discovering life on planets? And when will this likely happen? Stay tuned until the end to hear the theories that are likely to be true. But you can decide for yourself which conspiracies are real. Now, let's find out, why haven't we found aliens yet? We have to admit, the question isn't new. People have been asking this since we could first comprehend that intelligent life must exist elsewhere. But this question hasn't been asked more famously than was posed by Enrico Fermi in 1950. As an Italian physicist working on the famed Manhattan Project of the 1940s, Fermi jump-started the phase of exploration that followed the nuclear age that he was such an integral part of. He pondered aloud how, with all of humanity's advancements and the huge size and old age of the universe, why haven't we met aliens yet? Since he died 4 years later, he wasn't able to answer his question, but other scientists took him up on the challenge. 11 years after the Fermi paradox was first posed, an astronomer named Frank Drake proposed his own calculations that has worked in tandem with the Fermi paradox as the backbone driving the search for alien civilizations. The Drake equation states that the total of advanced alien civilizations in the known universe can be determined by the median amount of stars being created on a regular basis, times the amount that have planets, times the average planets with the resources to nurture life, times the fraction of planets that actually harbor life, times the fraction of planets that actually display or broadcast signals of intelligent life forms, multiplied by the time span during which these signals are released. Yeah, it's not the type of equation they teach in your Algebra 1 class. And it requires a lot of coincidence and happenstance in order for us to be in a position to actually detect signs, locate places of origin, and actually reach out to aliens before they get lost in the shuffle of our busy intergalactic neighborhood. The problem of the Drake equation is that there's no consistency. Earth's resume shows that the heydays of civilizations, whether it be the Romans or the Mayans, tend to last no more than several hundred years, give or take. In a universe that's approximately 13.8 billion years old, the chances of finding anyone by those metrics is slim to none. Based on what we know now, and by plugging those numbers into Drake's equation, there's around a 53 to 99.6% chance that we are the only civilization in this galaxy, and a 39 to 85% chance we are the only one in the observable universe. That's a huge window in which to hope for life, and it's also one that's considerably and disappointingly narrower than we were all hoping. Throughout the centuries, our perceptions of the world around us have only been limited by our ability to overcome adversity with technological advancements. What we didn't understand, we explained as the work of the gods or some other higher power. And while some things may always be debated, like the true origin of the universe or the reason why Lucasfilm made a standalone Han Solo movie, you can't really argue with the fact that UFO sightings have been documented for thousands of years. But whether we actually understood them as encounters with vehicles of little green men was a different story. Sure, ancient people thought bad harvests could be the work of witches' curses and that the best cure for anything was a good leeching. But even members of NASA believe that certain historical accounts have a ring of truth to them. Documented by NASA's Dr. Richard Stothers in his 2007 study titled Unidentified Flying Objects in Classical Antiquity, he found the following. Written in the Roman historical accounts known as the Annales Maximi, fleets of ships and round shields were seen floating through the skies above the area where the Punic Wars occurred. In 218, 217, and 173 BC, these sights would have shocked onlookers and would not merely have been clouds mistaken for something greater than they were. The Romans had a solid understanding of most natural events at this time, and they would have recognized something unnatural when they saw it. In 74 BC, in what is now part of modern Turkey, Roman armies were moving to engage enemy forces in a big battle when they were deterred by the sight of a giant flying wine jar. Sure, maybe some of the centurions were just in the mood for booze, but with entire armies reporting the strange event, and the curious fact that no meteorites were reported during that time by the locals, it's theorized that there's a chance this fiery flying object may have been piloted by an unknown source. All through the West Bank of modern-day Israel, the Kingdom of Judea had reported sightings of chariots burning trails through the sky, galloping thousands of feet above all the major cities in the area. Since it was documented by contemporary historian Josephus in 65 AD, who had interviewed the many witnesses, experts agree that this was more than just an unexplainable weather event. So, if NASA believes that these events are true, then why aren't we spending all of our money on the long-distance charges to phone ETs home? Well, it's a bit more complicated than that. Not only are there a ton of skeptics around the world, we don't always agree on the best ways to reach out to intelligent life. But one of the simpler ways scientists are looking for extraterrestrials is by expecting them to think the way that we think. It took us a long time to start shooting objects into space, but we haven't really stopped since figuring that out. The program known as Transiting Exoplanet Survey Satellite is operating under the assumption that aliens have followed in our thought process, and that they've launched alien-made satellites around exoplanets as their own means of gathering information in the same way we do, for espionage, communications, and research. Exoplanets, by the way, are planets outside of our solar system. We're discovering many of them through the process of analyzing decreases in starlight. By looking at exoplanets, we can assume that dips in the light coming from those planets are due to passing satellites. At this point, reviewing the data around the many new exoplanets we discover each year is key. Many satellites circle Earth in a geostationary orbit. That is, they follow along the same path in an artificial ring of space junk. If we can find a planet with a geostationary ring of around 22,200 miles above its surface, we can assume that the objects in that ring are likely to be alien-made. This would mean that the offending exoplanet would be a place harboring some history of alien activity. We just need the people monitoring NASA's Transiting Exoplanet Survey Satellite to find aliens before they find us. It's believed that if aliens are using this same method to find Earth from light years away, it'll be the year 2200 before we have enough satellites orbiting our planet to be discovered by them. But might an alien satellite already be here, watching us? For years, there were rumors of an unidentified and ominous-looking jet-black object quietly orbiting Earth. Some had argued that it was a 13,000-year-old wanderer, an ancient device sent from the star system of Epsilon Boötis to watch Earth's progress by a race of advanced beings. Referred to as the Black Knight satellite, the only thing that really is known about it is the fact that we don't know much. Back in 1899, Nikola Tesla's equipment detected a strange signature of radio waves emitting from space. Speculation was reignited when a scientist from Norway detected the same waves. A retired U.S. Naval Aviation major also claimed he picked up signals of two devices orbiting Earth in 1954, a couple of years before the first human-made satellite was launched around the Earth. Conspiracy theorists believe that these signals were coming from the famed Black Knight. However, pictures of the Black Knight, first pulled from photographic records of the International Space Station in 1998, have been discounted by NASA as nothing more than a misplaced thermal blanket, frozen in a strange shape. One could argue that rampant speculation and misplaced resources, like all those citizen astronomers spending their time theorizing about a Black Knight satellite when they could have been reading the light signatures of exoplanets, is another reason why we haven't found aliens yet. But hey, if you love looking at pictures of weird shapes in space, then by all means, search through the photos of NASA's online archives for more possible sources of overlooked extraterrestrial activity. Look, there's a lot of possibilities and impossibilities when it comes to the search for aliens. Even if we have found incontrovertible proof, there's a strong chance that we just don't know about it. It's obvious that the existence of intelligent extraterrestrial life poses an existential threat to global security and stability. So the world's governments, while cagey about the existence of alien visitors, would also be highly secretive if any interactions with little green men occurred. According to Stephen Hawking himself, one day we might receive a signal from a planet, but we should be wary of answering back. Meeting an advanced civilization could be like Native Americans encountering Columbus. That didn't turn out so well. With so much hanging in the balance, it's no wonder government bases like Area 51 have been the cause of such wild speculation over the years. And even if there wasn't a big cover-up underway at Area 51, because it was or was not the site where they stored the rumored spaceship from the Roswell, New Mexico crash of the 1940s, it was definitely the site where the US government tested new aeronautical technology. When first opened at the start of the Cold War, Area 51 was used as a remote test facility for the new U-2 spy plane that was used to snap pics of Russian activities from high altitudes, a huge improvement over the low-flying spy planes of the past. With commercial planes of the 1950s unable to fly higher than around 20,000 feet, it's no question that people would have freaked out when seeing test flights of U-2 planes at altitudes of 60,000 feet. With a government eager to explain both unknown phenomena and known secret projects as unexplainable weather events, it's no wonder some citizens have learned to distrust the man when they witness an unidentified flying object. So in the meantime, keep staring at the sky and listening for signals, because maybe you will be the first to strike up a convo with an interstellar explorer. And that's why we haven't found aliens yet.